Hi, all. Thank you for tuning in to Droplets of Love, part of the Love Dripping from the Walls podcast. I am your host, Elizabeth Cunningham. Thank you so much for joining me today. And today we are going to have our Droplet of Love be about toxic monogamy culture. This was a topic that was suggested by my friend Scott. I took a poll on my Facebook about what topics people would like to hear about. My friend Scott is someone who is in a ethically non-monogamous marriage, and he wanted suggested that I talk about toxic monogamy culture. So I actually am going to make a larger podcast about this, where I bring someone on and we have an actual conversation about what is toxic monogamy culture. I think that this is something that is a new topic for a lot of people, because a lot of people don't even know what the word monogamy means. And so monogamy is the traditional, what we think of as a traditional relationship in the United States, or really in Western culture, is that there's two people who are in a relationship. There's one person and then there's another person. A lot of people think that that is just a man and a woman. That's a completely different topic. We're not going to go there today. But what monogamy culture is that there's this one way that romantic relationships can show up, and that is only between two people, and that is it. Everything else is seen as a kink or a taboo, or in some cases, people think it's downright immoral to have more than two people involved in a relationship. So that is where the toxic monogamy culture phrase comes in, is that then if you engage in a type of relationship, whether it be polyamorous, open, or there's a whole myriad of terms. You can be in a triad. A lot of people have this umbrella be ethical non-monogamy. So anything that's outside of only two people being involved in a relationship. Me personally, I am polyamorous. Poly means many. Amory means love. So it means that I love multiple people at the same time. And for me, for polyamory specifically, that doesn't mean just having a sexual relationship with someone. It also means having a mental, emotional, or even, spiritual connection to another human being, and having multiple of those types of relationships at the same time. So again, so that's a little bit about what monogamy is and what ethical non-monogamy is. And again, these are very large topics. I do have a whole podcast episode about polyamory specifically. I bring it up a lot. We talk about, a lot of times on my podcast, we do talk about and mention ethical non-monogamy. And that's not necessarily always the center focal point of the podcast, but it's certainly a normal topic. It's a normal topic for me to talk about. And my intention of having this droplet of love this week is to create normalcy around ethical non-monogamy and to foster productive conversations about these topics, and to create compassion for how people choose to love and want to love people. And I also want this to open up a dialogue for people. I don't want this to be like, well, Elizabeth said this, period. I want this to be an open dialogue about what works, how people love, what the expression is of that. I want questions, I want inquiry, I want curiosity, and I want compassion and love the entire time. I think that we can have these conversations with compassion for one another, with love for one another, even if we don't all live the same way. That's totally okay to not live the same way. I'm not saying, I'm actually saying that there isn't a right or wrong way to love someone, unless it goes into unhealthy and abusive, and that's an entirely different topic in itself. But in a consenting, healthy relationship, that there is no one way that it has to look. And so toxic monogamy culture is that very strict, straightforward, there's only one way that it has to look, and there's no other way that it can look, and if it looks any other way, then you are wrong and you are bad and you should not be doing whatever it is that you're doing. You know, I'm someone who is very secure in how I love people and the way that I express my love to people. So when I get comments like, "You're going to hell," or "This is a sin," or some comments even from, and this is not just like random comments from people on the internet, this is people that know me and love me and they truly believe that, you know, and I've had conversations mostly with the people that I know personally. I've had these conversations where now it is an open dialogue and it is something that we can talk about, and I have turned it around in most cases, because I really truly believe that mostly people just want people to be happy. And so that the underlying underpinnings of this toxic monogamy culture is not this like terrible thing, but it's actually, you know, I just want you to be happy. I don't think that having multiple relationships could ever work, so therefore you're not going to be happy, so therefore you shouldn't do it, is generally the underpinning conversation that happens. Now, of course, there's radical people who are like, regardless, you're going to hell and you're a terrible person. But I don't think that that is the majority. I really don't. I really think that the majority of people really just want others to be happy. They want things to work. They want things to go along smoothly. And they don't see or understand that having ethical non-monogamous relationships could go that way. And so therefore there's a harsh like, don't do that. And then it comes across on an individual basis as you're wrong, you're bad. And so I really think in having a conversation about ethical non-monogamy and having a conversation about what actually works and getting curious about that is going to solve a lot of issues, but it is going to take a lot of conversations on people's part, a lot of curiosity. So my main points in talking in this little tiny snippet about toxic non-monogamy culture: if you are someone who is in a monogamous relationship and you all, or believes more in monogamous relationship, that's the only two people in a relationship, I request that you get curious and that you ask questions before making assumptions about people's lifestyle or how they choose to love people. Ask questions like, why is it that you feel that way? You know, how does that actually work? You know, I have a concern about this. Can we talk about it? I'm really curious about this. Really being able to have an open dialogue. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you need to do a little soul searching first before you can get there, but that's not what this episode is about. And for those people who are in ethically non-monogamous relationships, what my request is for you is to have a little compassion and patience for people who don't understand what it is that you're doing or how it is that you choose to love people. I request that you give people the benefit of the doubt, that they truly don't understand, and maybe their harsh comments aren't coming from a place of hate, but they're coming from a place of just pure ignorance. And I don't think that just because someone is ignorant gives another person the right to be mean back. Don't be mean back. Don't be that person. I have a lot of opinions about the world that aren't shared by the majority. And how I live is not shared by the majority. I'm polyamorous, I'm pansexual. There's a lot of questions that people have about my sexuality. And if someone is ignorant about it, I give them the benefit of the doubt. I really do. They have never heard of this before. Maybe they've been told in their life that who I am and what I believe is scary or hurtful. And so they see me then as scary or hurtful. But that's because of how they grew up. Okay. But I know that I can have a conversation with someone and show them that I'm not that. And how they're looking at it, this is the thing, is that when someone meets you, I'm speaking specifically to the people who are in ethically non-monogamous relationship. When someone meets you and they associate you with polyamory, open relationships, whatever that is, if you're mean, off-putting, whatever, then that puts a blanket statement on that entire group. Is it fair that that's your responsibility? No, that's not fair. But that's what people do, and that's what has the conflict persist. My request is that you be a part of the solution. I thought this kind of turned into a PSA, but my request is that you be a part of the solution, that you come from understanding, that you come from compassion, that you give people the benefit of the doubt. And this is for everyone. Now I'm just talking to everyone. That you give people the benefit of the doubt, that underneath, I really truly believe that a majority, not everyone, I don't believe that everyone is a good person. I actually do not believe that. But I do believe that a majority of people, an overwhelming majority of people, are truly good, just want society to work, just want people to be happy and healthy, and maybe they have a few unhealthy beliefs and opinions about that we just need to talk about. So there you go. There's my toxic monogamy culture PSA for everyone. I love you all so, so much. Please reach out to me. Email me at lovedrippingfromthewalls@gmail.com. Find me on Instagram, Love Dripping From The Walls. Find me on Facebook, Love Dripping From The Walls. I just love, honor, and appreciate you all so, so much. Keep being that compassionate human being in the world. Keep being that person that you just want. If you want people to be a certain way in the world, be that way. Be the change that you wish to see. There you go. You got enough cliches yet? Okay. I love you all. Have an amazing rest of your day. Keep listening. Keep loving.